Hi everyone, thanks for joining today's call. Um, Today's agenda, I want to go through the tickets on the backlog, and then just to make sure that some of them are getting the sufficient information, as well as to make sure that maybe with the new upgrade or features, maybe some of the tickets no longer relevant, so that we can close them out. So I would like to go through one by one, just to make sure that we're not missing any information. So the first one is 354. Show the message when searching for existing client and internet connectivity when it's not stable. So Simon, do you want just to say, maybe give us an update whether this, I know that it marked as like a in progress, but I don't think you, because you got pulled off to do something else. So I just wonder what's the status on this one.
Yeah, it's been time since I looked at it last, but it's something that I should be working on next week.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
should I just put it on hold for now, maybe? So that at least like the status is more like updated.
Okay.
Yeah, I think putting it on hold makes sense.
What's that, Martin?
Putting it on hold makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, I just want to make sure like the status of all these tickets are current, because sometimes like we switch a little bit focus and for more like urgent priority, and yeah, that's why I want to go through the backlog.
Okay.
Then there's 331. Warning for the date of birth validation not working properly, and I think this is really low priority as far as I know from Sam. It's nice to have feature. It's not like a must feature. So it's we don't. Sam said that he doesn't want to include in the current release, the first release for the device management. So I think it's good just to leave it as like new, and then the priority is correct. Any comment or questions?
That's fine with me.
Okay. Next one is to map the provider IDs with system ID. This is the tickets that I created because of the changes of 1.9. The system admin can go ahead and change the to add like create a new provider without mapping to the existing person. So it creates problem for us that some of the providers kind of like offer without linking to any existing person. That is the problem of that. And this is just to enhance, to make sure that if the system ID exists, it needs the process to map with the his or her system ID through the person ID. If it doesn't exist, and then when we put an error queue, we prompt the more accurate information. So this is more like a generic. This would apply to more like a generic OpenRS implementations that have these issues. I also filed a ticket in OpenRS that to request to have like enhancement on the legacy UI when they create on the user management page. They need to and then on the legacy UI, when you create the users or manage the user, it has additional section that, hey, whether this is a provider, if yes, and then so that they can do all these things in one page. That fix the ticket is already done. However, it needs to be backported to previous version, and even though that is valuable, however, it doesn't mean that the other implementations later on when we work with other implementation that they might follow this kind of workflow. So I still think this ticket is still relevant. Simon, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's relevant. So from your Your comments, do you mean this applies only to the teleconsultation?
No, this applies to everyone. Not just teleconsultation, because teleconsultation is important in the sense that some of the users, they're not necessary as the provider. That's why they can never get the message. But it's also important for just provider because they can simply create like a provider, and then on our app we can still pull the provider, but actually it doesn't map to like a existing person, like the users, and then it's also cannot find the person UUID. I think that would also cause problem.
Yeah, I think this is relevant.
Yeah, you know how I see it is that even though with the tickets being fixed on the OpenMS side for enhancing the user management page, it's a nice thing to have so that it kind of like one-stop shopping, but it doesn't foster because it's not a required thing, and then that we might still encounter some of these kind of like exceptions that when the system doesn't set up correctly, we still end up with this kind of issues. So I think it's still relevant. So if you also think it's relevant, Simon, do you think 5 points is correct?
Yeah.
Okay. How about Martin and Derek? Do you guys have comment?
I don't.
Okay.
I think no comment from me. I'm listening and I agree.
Okay, cool. The next one is determine the minimum requirement for mUzima. So Simon, do you just want to walk through this ticket for us?
Yeah. Okay. This one came up sometime when the master students were asking about the mUzima application. What are the minimum requirements in terms of memory, process speed, storage? So I think that's the reason why we filed this ticket, so that we just need to try to run the app under different settings. We see whether we can profile it to determine the requirements. Because as of now, we only know we require at least Android 2.2, but we don't know how much memory in minimum requirement.
Okay. So is 3 story points reasonable?
Yeah, I think so.
Next one. Add a search server button after the patient search results list. What I mean is that currently I think it's really the search algorithm issue in our current app. So let's say that if there's someone named Nicholas, let's say Nicholas, right? There was a patient's record named Nicholas already downloaded to the app, to the local repo. And if I want to search another someone's name is like Nick something whatever, and then since at least the one match, not even though it's not exactly the one that I'm looking for the record, it will not let me to proceed to search real time against the server. Just because of that.
Connection.
No,
we are losing here a bit. Maybe it's our connection.
Okay, how about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Vitalis. We're just going through the tickets on the mUzima backlog. So feel free to chime in if anything you have suggestions or especially like relevant to your implementation. So this ticket is about that for the current app. Let's say that I'm searching from my patient record in my local repository, and as long as at least like one of the record match, and the the app would not, even though that none of those records in my local repo is what the record I'm looking for, and I want to proceed to search against the server in real time. Currently, it doesn't allow that because there's no button or option for me to say that, hey, I want to search against the server right now, because none of this from this list actually is what I'm looking for. So it creates the potential for creating duplicate record in the local repo just because we don't have the option for to allow the user to search real time, the server real time. So that's pretty much what this ticket is about. So with this, I think it would help us to further reduce the potential patient record duplications. Because right now, let's say that if they put like John, as long as it match, even though any of the existing records have like parcel name match, it will not let me to proceed to search the server. So I will be forced to create a new record, even though maybe I know this patient actually have existing record in the system. So I think this is an important, is like a very important improvement for reducing the duplicate records. Any questions or comment on this one?
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think this is an important ticket. We should give it some priority.
Yes, I think so too. So, so maybe we can put the priority high.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the story point, do you think 3 is reasonable?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
So, any other comments or questions on this ticket?
Just to say that feature will be very much helpful, and it will be good. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think it would help to reduce a lot of extra work on reducing the error solution.
Yes.
Okay. Next one is form autosave even if they're not applicable to select the client. This was filed by Ruth. So basically, I think that what she's trying to say that some of the forms, let's say the forms are only applicable to female, and then once the form is open, and then it was still allowed to save. I think this one probably need to be revised a little bit in a sense, because I think it would require a bit more thoughts to it, because right now we can only simply based on the the patient demographic data, like gender is female or male, to apply whether the form is applicable or not. But what if they want to say something more specific, like to further, like say age group or type of patient and things like that? To me, this might end up, there would be something nice to have, but it might involve a little bit more in depth if we want to do it right, because we don't want the one ticket here, another ticket there to keep coming in saying that, oh, how about my CDM patient, or how about my whatever study patient, why this form show up but not the other form. This is pretty much similar to this is another thing that I think Raj also brought it up, similar suggestions last week, that how about, I only want my big providers to see the big forms. I don't want them to see the log forms. It's very, very, very similar. So for this one, what I see is that we may want to have a little bit different design discussions, so that we can create more like generic way to cover something, like for different combinations. I don't know what you guys think. Are you guys there? Are you guys there?
Yeah, so when the form, just a couple of things. When the form auto saves, it's just going to stay there as incomplete, and they have to delete it, right? If it doesn't apply. So because if it doesn't apply, they won't fill it, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So in the short term, my personal sense is one, the program administrators should be responsible for ensuring that the downloaded forms are the ones that are only relevant to the providers first of all, right?
Yes.
And so that's a program thing to begin with. The idea that Raj suggested for the future is actually quite impressive. Okay, it's a good one for a roadmap standpoint. So when I'm setting devices for people in the LAC program, I shouldn't even have to do it on the devices in terms of forms. I think you can define all those things using a module in OpenMRS or something to that effect. Let's say this person, for this program, these are the forms. And so when they're downloading mUzima, they don't have to do the selection. It's going to be a bit workflow change.
Correct.
So it's a little bit. And right now, I'm thinking of it as a roadmap type of thing.
Yeah, that's why I explained to Raj as well. I think that's a great idea. But right now on the open exercise, we don't have any place to say that, hey, this form belong to whatever program. We just simply don't have that option right now. So so that also some server side change before we can even make it work on the app mobile side.
Yes. So it's quite a bit of work. So
yeah,
again, it's a future enhancement.
Correct. So I think that that's why I told him that it's something that it would be great to have, but right now I don't think we have the resources right now. But it's like on the on the future discussion list, so that when when the time comes, we can discuss those and then do more design discussions. So can I make this to low priority?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me just put a comment here. Good, thanks guys. So this the Canon EMR ticket. I think the reason we put them on hold because we will not we don't have the access to the demo server. So Simon, do you agree?
Yeah.
So is it possible for us to get a hold with them so we can close it out, or how do you guys want to handle this? Because it's been like long, we kind of keep dragging it for a while. This 3 tickets.
No, just freeze it. We don't have to freeze it.
Okay, so we'll continue it on hold. So that's fine. The same for the other Kenny EMR stuff. Okay. The next one is the CDM CHW form user improvement. It was filed by Lawrence, and this is more like enhancement on the program for the form. So be the next version, as we freeze our requirement earlier this year, that we said we would not include this for the current version. And I also make some some comments on the forms, and I think I will ask Lawrence to confirm whether this is still needed. So next one is add rotating bar and toast message when downloading provider and location. It's filed by robot. I think what she means is that when doing the initial visit, it's hard to tell. Actually, there's no matches, or it's still working on it. It's hard for the user to tell, especially for the user with not so good connectivity. So I think that's what she's just more like an enhancement thing. Any comments on this, Cricket?
Yeah, I think this is just an improvement thing. For now, it may not block. It won't block users from, especially those who understand how the application works in doing their job. But it's necessary, yes, like she pointed it out.
Yeah, to me, it's low priority. But it's like a nice feature because, like, especially for a new user, they may get frustrated. What does it mean? You know, something like that. When there's no matches, and is it the app not responding or the connectivity is not working? You know, it's just hard to know. I think it's more like to prompt more relevant status for the actions. I think that's what to help to enhance the user experience.
Yeah.
So do you guys agree that's low priority? Or
Yeah.
okay. So next one is filed by rules about including the location ID along with the location names. So what it is that in the current status, when you search or download the location, it only shows the name but not necessarily to the location ID. She thinks that it will be helpful and relevant to also display the location ID, especially some of the location might have like similar name and things like that. To me, is even lower than, you know, it's like a small change. More like a user experience enhancement as well. And to me, it's not like the high priority. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So yeah, we'll remain on the mUzima Sunday. The next one is very similar, also filed by Ruth. Similar thing about displaying the provider ID along with provider name, because current app behavior is just to display the provider name without the ID, and it'll be nice to have just to kind of another piece of information to verify that. So I think I agree with the current status, like trivial and also nice to have to be done in one day, someday. Do you guys feel the same?
Yeah.
Next is add logic to mUzima Forms module to only allow forms for proper discriminated tag as registration. Simon, do you want to talk about this one?
Yeah. This one I found there was I think there was some problem where a certain form that was not a non-registration form was tagged as registration.
Do you mean like on the mUzima form module?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you see, within the application, when you're downloading forms, we identify registration forms by the tag.
Yeah,
Any
correct.
form that's not registration is downloaded and saved as a registration form. But when you submit form data, we use the the
Discriminator.
discriminator to identify registration form data, and therefore to determine what kind of handler would process that data back at the server side. So somehow, in those two situations, there's some kind of inconsistency. For example, you can, and therefore the app would be cheated to think that's a registration form. Then when it comes to uploading the data, then there would be some problems because if the data does not have the fields we do have in the registration form, then there would be some problems, some errors. So I think when I filed this one, I indicated it should be done within the form module, but also maybe we can look at it differently. We can align the way we identify forms within the application by only the discriminator.
Yeah, I think this also applied. This also applied to the teleconsultation too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can say during the download forms, you identify the registration forms by the discriminator, not by the tag, because the tag is, I think it's for the user, but the app should rely on the discriminator, I think.
Yeah. So if that's the case, yeah. So, or maybe on the, I can see another way is maybe easier on the server side when the manager choose the discrimination type, let's say registration discriminator, it should already automatic tag registration tag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the same for the teleconsultation.
Yeah.
Like for those special tags.
Yeah.
And then that way, it's just easier. And then those tags cannot be removed. Like some tag they can be added or removed, but some tag should not. Something like that. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Special discriminator creating new it should automatically add codes of So do you think 5 points is still correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, thanks. Next one is after installing the barcode scanner, the user should be taken back to mUzima. So it was filed by Shrita. So what happened is that on the current wizard, the last step is the barcode scanner. And if the user say, yes, I want to install it, it will bring to the Google Play Store, and then to allow the user to proceed for installing that. But after after the installation, it should bring it back to the current mUzima app. But that's not the behavior right now. So I consider this as nice to have. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's not a blocker, but we should have it someday.
Yeah. I'm thinking like some of these tickets, like nice to have thing, or more like simple one. Maybe we can potentially to have some students to work on those. maybe we can discuss another time on this one. Yeah.
It's actually a good point, Eda. We are thinking of doing a hackathon, and we should discuss some of these things could be part of the hackathon.
Yeah, I think like a lot of like very small things, like for example, like display the location ID. Those things are small, simple one, you know, and it's not critical. And then this is another example. I think this would be nice for a student to do. Yeah.
Yes.
Because I think it's not about like fixing the tickets, but also for the student to get the experience for setting up the development environment. I think most of the time is that part is more like a barrier for the student to even get started. So it's kind of like a, how to say, motivating them, you know, in a sense, yeah.
I agree. It's almost the way OpenMRS does it, right? So
yeah.
have you been able to complete at least a ticket?
Yeah, okay. So I think this one's no longer relevant because we already moved on with the fingerprint stuff. So I'm going to close this. Next one is to revise the fingerprint page similar to the barcode scanner page. I think this also no longer relevant because we already moved on as well. Next one is downloading form name related to downloaded encounter. Simon, do you want to talk about this one? It's been a while already.
Yeah, I think yeah. We lack form name. I think this was this came up when we were trying to implement the patient encounters page, and we wanted to list those encounters by form name. But I think later on we came to agree that maybe is it by encounter type is fine. The way it's done currently, I think it's fine. That's what we discussed sometime after it was filed.
Yeah, I think this already resolved. Downloading form name. I see. I know what you mean. Because I remember now. Yeah, because because right now on the encounters information on the app, it just showed the encounter type and not the name, right?
Yeah.
To me, it's not that. It's like nice to have. It's the same thing.
Yeah, actually, after it was done, we thought maybe listing by encounter type is just fine. We don't need form name.
Okay, so can we close this one?
Yeah, I think so. Unless if anyone thinks we still need form name.
So this is one of the first tickets that one of the very first tickets that Simon did for us to add the encounter box on the client summary page, and then so at least to know how many encounters the client has. It displayed the encounter type rather than the encounter form name. It's not that critical for us to know the encounter form name unless you guys think that is critical. Because the user can go and see the encounter form from the. Do you guys think it's no longer needed, or?
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think we need it.
This is part of the Zagabar thing, and I don't think I think we can close out these tickets because we have a we have one Google Summer project for doing something similar, and also we working with Yuan's and Purdue's group to do something a little bit different on the design, I think. Unless you guys think it's needed, but I think this no longer relevant because we have a different set of requirements now.
Yeah.
Yeah, this ticket is outdated. This one is remove leading zero on the value read by the barcode scanner. I was the one who about it. I think my view and you guys' view were so opposite. I think this one, when we use the barcode scanner, it because like I think the problem is more like this is more relevant to the MPath implementations because when for the check digits algorithm, all this leading zero doesn't really make any difference on the check digit algorithm because it's only read anything start from anything more than zero and after that on the right side when they check on that. However, for barcode, it's a little bit different because the barcode generating by this is different from without the leading zero. So that's why sometimes when they scan, you cannot find it. I was thinking it should be trimming the leading zero. However, I think Martin's suggestion at the time said no, because that's how the implementation set it up. We should not change the implementation, the way they do the business. So I think that's the reason that we still have these tickets here, but we could not get the consensus. It's more like an implementation side issue to me, actually. So now I am open to say that this ticket, to close this ticket as not relevant because when I think furthermore, because at that time we are more like MPath specific, but now I think things change. We are going beyond outside of MPath, so to me it's not that significant. I don't know what you guys think. So I think like the struggle is that on one hand we want to make it more like generic way that it applicable to multiple implementation across so that everyone's happy. On the other hand is because most of our implementation right now is more like MPath specific. So what to do with that? So we opt to more like making our app more generic way so that this is more like implementation issue, so we should not worry about that. Does it make sense?
It's not a priority.
I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, it looks like it's not a priority.
Whether it's still relevant or not.
I don't think it's relevant. I think it's no longer relevant.
Yes, that's how I see it now, because I'm saying the same thing because this is more like implementation problem.
Yeah.
If that's how they generate the ID, when you first scan, it's like this, but then when you enter, and then you scan again, and then you have different barcode. Because the barcode for this value is different from the barcode for this value.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we're not in the barcodes business, so I think it's more like implementation issue. So to me, it's no longer relevant. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't think it's relevant.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Next one is defined activities needed to get Zigaba to work with mUzima. I think this is ongoing. Actually, we need to follow up with Sunny's group whether they have any questions in terms of like pulling the metadata from OpenMSI to display on the form designer. So this would, I think, we continue to leave it as it since we're still getting the requirements settled. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah. So the same for the other parts of the other two tickets, also for the Zagabar. And then this one is what? 177. Provide oversight functionality of the roadmap for mUzima. And this is it was like meant for Win to do it for us. So I think now the responsibility fall onto me, Simon, and Sam. I don't think we need a ticket for that, as becomes our part of our job from now on. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree with you. At the same time, I think we'll need to kind of have specific scheduled roadmap meetings for the different components.
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
Okay.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is that we need to have like something like this, like once a month,
Yes.
just to make sure we're on track.
I'm with you.
Okay. Cool. So the next ticket is the notification for no-show or loss to follow-up. This is is filed by Lawrence. It's more like specific to the CDM cohort. And so what I asked Lawrence is like to finalize the requirements while we're working on the notification systems. So this is part of the kind of like mobile CDSS thing that fall onto Sam's side. And so I would think that continue to leave this status like waiting for the information from Lawrence while we're working on the notifications. Comment? Are you guys okay with the suggestions?
Sorry, could you repeat what you said?
So what I say that we will continue to leave these tickets as is, since Lawrence also need to confirm the specification with Dr. Camano anyway, and then while Sam working on the notifications framework.
Yeah, sounds good.
Next one is provide instructions for making clear video on how to set up mUzima for open implementation. I think let me remove. First of all, remove Win. I think this would be a nice project for students to do as well. So that we can have like a nice video about the setup.
Yeah, I agree. We have a School of Media Services here at Moy.
Who's that?
There's a media school at the School of Information Sciences who might be interested in helping us with some of these things.
Okay, that'll be great. Okay, so we'll leave it as it.
Okay.
And then next one is improvement of the registration process. I think it's still relevant in the sense that because we still haven't incorporated with the biometric piece as one of the registration process, and because it has like a sub tickets and things like that. So I think we should still leave it, especially when um, Noah picking it up for his project. I think that would be significant for him to take over on this one, or at least like work closely with us on this one.
Agreed.
So okay. Next one is create an OpenMRS module for CAPLAS. So actually on the OpenMRS side, the framework for the media modules is there already. And the markup and then the stuff is already ready over there. I think we just need us to dedicate time to confirm the codes are not broken since like there's so many changes since this like a couple of years old or almost a couple of years old. So that I think we need to make sure that things not fail and things like that. So Martin, I think maybe it's a good question for you that in terms of priority, what do you think this should fall into?
This right now is a little bit low priority, unless a user comes and demands for it.
Yeah, we just don't have the resources to make sure the code works. Yeah.
Yes. And for the other ticket on fingerprinting, could we have the master student as a watcher?
Yeah.
Or even assign to them?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So Noah has been added. Maybe we can pause it up to here, and then we can continue when we have time in our next maybe upcoming calls, just to go through the rest of the list. Since we have only like a few minutes left, I just want to wrap up to see if there's any other comments and concerns in terms of what we have gone through so far. I think it's nice for us to do it like periodically, just to make sure the priorities are updated, as well as to close out some tickets that are no longer relevant or outdated. Any questions or comments on the tickets that we have reviewed so far from the backlog?
Yeah, on my side, this is Vitalis. I joined through Survey. I don't know if our log tracker is part of the ticket or maybe separated with the different issues.
Which tracker?
I mean, the tracker that we are bringing, raising the issues.
Big Pick, I think.
Big Pick.
For the BigPic forms, the BigPic forms have the BigPic ticket. It's still the same ticket. We're not going to, we're not creating new tickets for the big forms. It's still the same as the social network survey as well as the medical use ticket.
Okay.
So all the information corresponding you should include on the ticket. You know, for example, the medical use links you should attach to the medical use ticket.
All right.
And for the social network issues, you should attach to the social network ticket.
Okay.
Yeah, I think for it's good that you're here, Lita. So like what I think right now is like for you guys is that Ali has some questions. I think I already addressed those through email, and the rest of them should be addressed by your team because I think it's more like a team, the big team issues more than programming issues or concept issues that the concept modeling issues. So we will continue to put your tickets until you guys give us like a final list of specifications or changes.
Sure. I think we are a big team, so many comments and many proposals. I think, yeah, even yesterday during our call, Dr. Sonak also requested to also go through the application and also bring his comment. So maybe by Tuesday we met today. So maybe by Tuesday, want to consolidate everything and send what is there.
Yeah, we don't want changes to the form.
Exactly.
That should have been frozen.
Yeah.
Okay, so you should have involved all those people right from the beginning. It's just a standard way of kind of how to do these things. Just because the developer team has priorities and cycles.
Yeah.
So if you say you're going to program the big pig form this time, and then next you're moving to another activity, if the big pig form keeps going, then it becomes a problem.
Okay.
Now, if there are issues around how the functionality is programmed, as was described, then we are happy to fix those. But no substantive changes on the form itself become a problem.
So I just want you guys. Yeah, I think Vitalis, I think you understand what you actually. I think you understand very well. Our intention. Actually, our intention is more like to make sure that we're not going back and forth so many times. A lot. If you notice, like even because you have like a big team, even within your team, it's hard to get the consensus. And then for us just to get pieces of information from different feedback, and then if we don't, and we just go ahead and make changes, it's going to be like never finished programming task for us. And also it doesn't meet the satisfaction for your team. So what we believe that based on our past experience is that it's really helpful for us to be a little bit more firm in terms of making sure that the programming activities doesn't start until the specifications are clearly finalized and both teams agree on that. And then first is to reduce confusion, because even within your team, I think everyone come in at different time and they have different view on on the same question, on the same issue. Even
Sure.
for you, yeah, even for you, I think you notice that it's becoming overwhelming even for you just to summarize or try to consolidate the feedback from different users from your team. Yeah, just reduce confusion from both sides. I think we are very happy that you understand our workflow and then what our intention is, so that we want to provide the best quality of forms for you guys. But I think that's the better workflow for us. The relationship with us is that you guys have your team to internally discuss and confirm. As you can tell, every time when you guys ready, someone will jump in and say that, oh, how about this, how about that. And even for you, it's difficult to manage, and whether it should be this way or the other way. For us, it's even more challenging because it will require constant changes, and then we cannot keep up with all these small, tiny requests. Maybe 2 fixes here, and then 2 days later, 5 fixes there, and then later someone said, "Oh, I don't want that. I wasn't part of it. I wasn't aware of it from your side," and then it creates even more work for you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I think we've also been trying to explain to the team that position. So it's okay.
I mean, like for example, like when Ali came in, after the form is already, doing the second round of testing, that was already one of the challenge because she should have been involved in the beginning of the process before it come to us. You know what I mean? But I understand sometimes like the things happen and things like that, and so she missed a lot of those corresponding clarification that we had back in March. So that's why she's asking, a lot of things that I already asked. And but those things are designed by your team, and then even though maybe I, for example, from my personal opinion on certain things, I don't fully agree with that. But if that's what the project PI insists or decided, and I would respect the decision, and then we'll take it from there. And so some of those questions should be addressed by your side because I also asked, similar questions for clarification back in March. So thank you so much, Vitalis, for understanding us and also working closely with us. I think it's going to get better and better, and this also will help your work in terms of the data management and also monitoring much easier later down the road.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah, thank you so much. So if is there any other things? Okay.
So when is next call?
The next call is next Friday, unless you guys want to do on Tuesday.
I think Friday.
Okay. Okay, we can have it next Friday, and then have a wonderful long weekend. Enjoy the Labor Day off.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Bye.